there are for the very important concept of universal basic income. So I'm honored to be given the opportunity to speak here today. The theme of this conference is bold ideas, practical solutions. And this plenary session is about making basic income a reality. I'm here to present a bold idea for a practical solution to make basic income a reality. A solution we can implement right now through our own choices and actions without waiting for powerful institutions like government. Most of the discussion of basic income tends to be based on an assumption which I don't think is necessarily a good one. The assumption that universal basic income should inherently be a government program. Although I personally support a government-backed UBI in the nations of the world, there are significant limitations to what such programs can accomplish. Half the human population is living on less than $2.50 a day. And the worst economic inequality is between people of different countries, not within countries. Believe it or not, a UBI of only $1,000 a year could double the income of half the people in the world. Imagine the impact on billions of lives, billions of people's lives that could be transformed with just such a small amount of money, small by the standards of people here in North America, but which is a lot of money for most people around the world. But the problem is, there's no world government that can create such a program. So how are we going to double the income of half the human population? If we can't do it through taxes and government spending, is there another way? Well, I would argue that it's imperative that we find another way, because the problem of global poverty affects everyone. If half of human beings are desperately poor, that doesn't just hurt them, it hurts us too. For example, terrorism is largely the result of impoverished young men with few economic opportunities being offered money to take care of their families if they blow themselves up for a cause. The international drug trade, human trafficking, hackers, email and phone scams originating from abroad, all of these things are largely the result of people unable to find honest work in their home country because of severe intergenerational poverty and lack of decent jobs. Similarly, mass migration and refugees are in large part caused by the same issue: lack of economic opportunity and lack of jobs because of systemic poverty disproportionately affecting some countries of the world. And it's worth noting that large numbers of people, migrants flooding across national borders, is giving rise to fascist political movements seeking to stem the tide of immigration by whatever means necessary, like building walls. This is one of the troubling consequences of global poverty. Another consequence is increased risk of war. Poor countries are more likely to seek nuclear weapons to gain some measure of power, which leads to less stable and a more dangerous world for everyone. Now, one of the shocking realities that most people don't understand is that the system of money itself is one of the main causes perpetuating worsening global poverty and inequality. Money is created when banks make loans. And banks are more likely to lend to people and nations because they are better. This means that more economic opportunities to gain even more wealth are extended to those who need it the least. Meanwhile, when banks lend to poor people and nations, they impose high interest rates, keeping them trapped in a cycle of debt that's almost impossible to get out of. And the result is that the rich keep getting richer and the poor stay poor. This is a direct consequence of the way that money itself works in today's mainstream currencies and financial system. But fortunately, thanks to a revolutionary new technology called blockchain and cryptocurrency, we the people now have the power to change the financial system with new currencies that can be designed to systematically shift the global economy in the direction of equality. 2009 as the first global currency based on open source technology. Using Bitcoin or the many other currencies that have since been created based on similar technology, people can send money anywhere in the world instantaneously for an extremely low fee using your computer or smartphone. Transactions are processed by a decentralized network of people's computers and recorded in a public ledger, cutting out the banking middlemen and their profit-driven model of money and finance. Blockchain technology itself is amazing. It's a decentralized system for digitally exchanging any kind of value or information and protecting it using robust cryptographic security to prevent counterfeiting, hacking, or fraud. But beyond this, blockchain is an historic social innovation. I believe it's one of the most important innovations in human history because it empowers any person or organization to create a competing currency based on their own values, their own ideas about how money should work and how it should be distributed. No longer are we at the mercy of banks and governments to enforce a currency system upon us that perpetuates and worsens the problem of global poverty. We can simply build our own better system. I'm the founder of the world's first cryptocurrency that's distributed to all participants as a universal basic income. Mana is created and distributed by the People's Currency Foundation, a US-based, tax-exempt 501c3 nonprofit organization. We use the expansion of the Mana money supply, a low 3.5% annual rate of inflation, similar to the historical rate of growth of the US dollar supply, as the source of our universal basic income. We simply give out newly created units of Mana evenly to everyone who signs up and verifies that they're a unique human being. In the first 3 months since we launched our automated UBI distribution platform at manabase.com, over 200,000 people around the world have signed the website. More than 120,000 people have received over $1 million US in the form of Mana, freely distributed to them as basic income. Later this year, we will also be launching a version of Mana UBI for children. Every child in the world will be eligible for a Mana digital savings account, which they will gain access to when they turn 18. In other words, this program will give a basic capital grant to children around the world when they come of age, which they can use to get a higher education, start a small business, or pursue whatever is their dream. Imagine the potential of this program to lift a whole new generation of children around the world out of poverty and fill their lives with opportunities for personal empowerment to develop and share their talents with the world. We'll also be turning Manabase into a social network for targeted direct giving. If you're a charitable giver, you'll be able to donate to the People's Currency Foundation and receive Mana, which you can efficiently give away through our website to your personal giving portfolio of artists, musicians, bloggers, activists, and other content creators and creative workers that you want to support to help them receive a basic income so that they can pursue their life calling. Now, the big question you're probably wondering about is, how does Mana get its value? This is something everybody asks us. How can you create a new currency out of nothing? You're basically printing digital money. How's it going to get its value? How can an alternative currency become valuable enough to function effectively as a universal basic income? Well, there's 3 ways that this is possible. First, like any other currency, Mana can gain value by people deciding to buy, hold, and save it, and use it, spend it, actually. The more people use a currency, the more valuable it's likely to become, according to a scientific principle called the network effect. And in fact, the Mana currency already does have real-world value. It currently trades at anywhere between ½ cent and 1 US cent. And it's worth right now about 100 times what it was worth when we launched, originally in 2015. Secondly, the People's Currency Foundation uses tax-deductible donations to help support the price of Mana. So when you donate to our nonprofit, you're literally helping to fund a global universal basic income. And we are the only cryptocurrency that has a nonprofit organization specifically using money donated to an organization to back the price of a cryptocurrency. Third, as we build ManaBase into a full-fledged social media platform, we'll be returning most of the profits to the user base in the form of Mana UBI. There's a huge amount of value generated by content and data on social networks. And we believe that everyone should share in the distribution of that value as a data dividend, which can form part of the basis for a successful UBI. Why should all the profits of social media platforms flow to somebody like Mark Zuckerberg at the top? How about instead, if we have a social network where the profits are distributed to everyone? So, to summarize the potential of the Mana project, through Mana, we have the power to start creating a globally impactful universal basic income ourselves, through our own choice of which currency to support and use. We have the power to give hope and opportunity as never before to a new generation of children around the world. And we have the power to prove to political leaders that UBI is something that people want, that people will support with their own money, and that will make a positive difference in people's lives. And I'd like to note that Mana isn't just theoretical. You can already shop for products using Mana currency at online stores launched by Mana supporters, like this one, manabasics.com. If you like what we're doing, I invite you to get involved. The Mana project has a large and growing team of staff, volunteers, and advisors in countries around the world. Some really high-caliber people have already joined our advisory board, including technology executives, social entrepreneurs, a U.S. presidential candidate, and social media marketers with followings in the hundreds of thousands of people. We're currently looking to fill various roles, especially nonprofit board members and advisors in economics, fundraising, and the NGO sector. If you join the Mana team, you'll be joining successful socially conscious innovators such as Andrew Yang, who recently joined our advisory board. Andrew is an entrepreneur with multiple successful startups. He's the founder of the startup incubator Venture for America. He's the author of 2 books and is now a Democratic Party candidate for President of the United States in 2020. So far this year, ManaBase, our technology company, has raised $75,000 in seed funding. This summer, we're doing a Series A securities offering to raise $1 million from accredited investors. And the People's Currency Foundation, our nonprofit, is also raising money through donations and a crowdfunding campaign this summer, and will be seeking greater levels of funding through grants and endowments. Thank you very much. If you'd like to learn more or get involved in the Mana project, please contact us. We'd love to talk with you. I think this is an exciting project with world-transforming potential. It's a project where we who can do something right now to help make this a reality. To sum up my main point, if you go away with one idea today from my presentation, it's this. We don't have to wait for anyone to agree with us. We don't have to wait for politicians to get on board with universal basic income. We don't have to wait for some kind of massive political movement to rise up and win majorities in parliaments and congresses and win presidencies. All we really have to do is create this ourselves. Some of the greatest ideas in the world are simply built by people who have an idea, create the idea, and rally support and get people involved in building it with them together. That's what we can do with the Mana cryptocurrency and ManaBase. And I encourage you to get involved if you want to do something today to help make universal basic income a reality. Thank you very much.